Everyone, this is Mike. We are here at the Nokia Theater for the fourth and second to final night of the Disco Biscuits holiday run. They first played here a little bit earlier this year, and they've come back for 5 sold-out nights here, and then they are going to head on an extended winter tour. We're here with John the Barber Gutwillig, who actually had a very early work call today at 2 o'clock in the morning to debut a new project for New York. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
My new project, it's a dubstep music project, which is a 140 BPM electronic music that came out of dub and reggae, and then it's gotten very electronic and it's gotten very bass heavy. So it's extremely funky. The girls love it. They dance to it in a really cool way. It's a brand new kind of music. That's why I like it, because artistically it's a fresh palette. There's nothing that you can do that's, been done or is trite, let's say. So essentially, it's just fresh. Everything you do is great. So it's sort of like a little grease for the artistic machine. And I spun. It was my third show ever last night. I played like 11 songs I wrote myself and about 11 or 12 songs by good dubstep artists from the UK. And then we had a DJ named MRK1, who's from the United Kingdom, who is one of the originators of the scene, one of the highest quality dubstep DJs in the world. And he came on after me and just blew the place out.
So many people know you as a guitarist for the Disco Biscuits, and you've kind of become familiar with some of your tastes in music, which range, as we've talked about before, from metal to pop rock to obviously trance and fusion and jam music. Were you always interested in reggae and dub, or is this kind of a new development for you?
Well, I wasn't too influenced by reggae and dub until my friend Pat Terrell, when I was 12, gave me a copy of Babylon by Bus by Bob Marley, of course. And that was the start of it. So before age 12, it was mostly Iron Maiden and classical music and maybe some Hendrix. And then the Bob Marley opened up a lot of doors, and everything came after that. And it seemed like Bob Marley was the first of a slew of just, from age 12 to age 19, I was bombarded by different kinds of music, everything from Fish to John Coltrane.
And speaking of different types of music, I know that you guys are in the final stages of working on your first studio album in a couple years.
Yes, we are.
I think a lot of people are going to be really surprised to know that you've worked with some hip-hop producers, and they did some writing with you guys and some producing. So first of all, how did that come to be, and is this going to sound like traditional Biscuits with a little hip-hop band, or is it something completely different?
It's going to sound like a lot of different things. Every track has its own feel. We tried to make this album in the modern way that albums are made. It used to be you get your band, you put them in a barn, you get some microphones, and they play for a week. That's how you make a Skinner album. Today's world, a lot of the hip-hop guys are doing the cutting-edge stuff. So we want to be on the cutting edge. We have people come in. We did a lot of let's hang out and play, normal band stuff, but we also did a lot of technically advanced stuff. And what they do nowadays is you have one producer for each track. So every time you do a song, you send it to producers, and the producers pick the ones that they are excited about, that make them passionate and that they want to work on. And so you always know the producer's down with every song and wants to make it as good as possible. So we had 3 or 4 different producers, Simon Posford and Benji Vaughn from the UK, part of the Twisted Crew. Those guys are possibly the best synthesizer people I've ever worked with, and they did some amazing things. And we wrote a lot of songs for it. And there's a lot of great playing on this album, and then there's a lot of just great vocals and everything. I think everyone's going to really, really love this Disco Biscuit album.
And I know you guys have played a couple new songs this run and over the course of the winter. Have you guys actually played any of the songs that are going to be on the album yet?
No, that's the best part. And we're debuting new songs like crazy right now.
Crazy, like every couple days.
I know. Yeah. And people are loving the new songs that we're debuting, and those are the ones that didn't make the cut.
So all the new songs are just a taste of what's going to come.
Yeah. We wrote 40 or 50 songs for this album. Some of it was just, just to write. It's sort of like art. Art is a blue-collar job. And if you don't go to work every day and do your thing, then you don't have anything to do after, you lose it. So you go to the studio and you do it every day. And after 40 or 50 of these tracks were made, we really learned how to do it. And then some of them came out great. And a couple of the early ones came out great, too. So the age of the songs on the album really varies from song to song. Some of them are a year and a half old. Some of them are 4 weeks old. But it really depends on just when we got hot, which is similar to what we do on stage. We get on stage, and the best shows are the ones where we just get hot, like a football team. Like you go out there and you throw the ball, and the receiver's there, and the catches are all there, and sometimes you just get hot. So the tracks that we really ended up keeping on the studios are the ones that we felt were really exciting, and when the band was just hot for some reason or another.
No, I know. I actually went to the studio with you guys. I think it was in 2006 when you
Yeah.
really were first just writing the album. And
Right.
one
Right.
of the things you did is you played me a couple songs that you had kind of demoed with some of these kind of more hip hop oriented producers, and also played some of the stuff you were listening to at that time, which ranged from everything from hip hop music to metal and all sorts of stuff. And you could kind of see some of those influences on these tracks. Are any of the songs you've started playing in the last, say, 6 months to a year, were they actually written with those guys, those hip hop producers, or were all those saved for the final product?
Well, we just played a song called Uber Glue. That was written with Harry Zelnick, one of the main producers, Dirty Harry.
Who was also a neighbor of yours in the studio, right? Isn't that how you guys?
Well,
first
he
met?
was.
Yeah.
That's how we met them.
Yeah.
Is they got kicked out of their studio,
Right.
and they had nowhere to go.
So it worked out perfectly.
So we were
Took them
like,
as
why don't you
refugees?
just put yourself
Yeah.
in the corner? And I mean, this kid's 18 years old. He's won a Grammy already. So
Right.
he's a super talented kid. He just doesn't have any money for rent.
Right.
So he got kicked out of his other studio. So we threw him in the corner by the fridge.
Yeah.
And he gradually moved into the control room and took over for a little while.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun to work with him and his partner Alex. Are just they're young geniuses.
And now you
It's
can
great
put
to
the
work
little
with them.
sticker on the front of the album saying, produced by Grammy Award winners and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's the right Grammy
Yeah,
Award winners.
exactly,
It's the
yeah.
guys who won Grammys
Great
by
guys, yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
The guys who just happen to win Grammys because that kind of stuff happens to them.
So I guess you guys are heading out on the road in about a month. You're starting your tour in Northampton. You're really going all the way across the country. You haven't visited a lot of these places in a while. Is there anywhere you're really excited to visit you haven't been for a while?
Yeah, I'm so excited to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to play the Tabernacle. It's a
legendary
big,
room, yeah.
legendary room. We've never played there before, and I just really feel like it's exciting. I've been looking forward to playing the Tabernacle for a long time. Our boys, Sector 9, play the Tabernacle all the time.
yeah.
They're playing there for New Year's. And it just feels, they always tell us how great it is, and it's great to go in there and play that room. Also, we're playing the Congress Theater in Chicago, which is our first time in that room as well. And we're doing that with some other artists like the New Deal and doing like a big party there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about that show.
So are you guys going to try to save all your new songs from the album till when the album comes out, or is this winter you're
Yes.
going to start? Okay.
Just when the album
Yeah.
comes out, when we drop the album, the very next show is going to be like, here they are, bang, bang, bang. And we're going to put improv into them on that tour too. So that tour is going to, I'm already starting to feel the, let's say 99 Biscuits, which is sort of what the fans say.
The classic era for those of you out there.
The
who,
classic
yeah.
rock opera
Yeah.
era of the Disco Biscuits, and then there was the sort of hard rock era and the jungle era, and now there's this new thing that's going on. And I'm feeling with all these new songs the separation, and it's really good because when you play the older stuff, it really gets you going, gets
Right.
you excited. Because it's only in that rotation, that every once in a while thing. And then the new stuff, we're just going to jam every part of every single song and try and find out where the juicy jams are, just like we used to do in the old days.
Speaking of the old days, I don't know if you know, but tomorrow is actually the 10-year anniversary of the debut of the hot air balloon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
so-
sort of cool.
Yeah, 10 years, a full decade later, which many people say is kind of like the start of the whole, early trance era of that, mixture of classical and electronic sounds and stuff. So
Cool. When
Yeah.
I wrote the hot air balloon, I made $80 a week.
really,
Yeah, and I lived in this little tiny, big stone house outside of Philadelphia, where like the heat didn't work, and it was a disaster. There was these old shag green and yellow carpets everywhere.
yeah.
And I just paced around that house every single day because I had no money to go anywhere.
And the club you guys debuted at is attached to a diner where most people have dinner now before
Right.
you play the Electric Factory, which is kind of like your home base at this point.
Right,
So
exactly.
How long did it take you to actually write the hot air balloon? Was it kind of over in
Months.
pieces? Or?
It took
yeah.
months. It took a long time. There was a day, it was July of that year was when I was like officially started, but a third of the music had already been written. It was sort of like the setup for it did all the work by itself. This is what I was talking about, the blue collar thing.
Right.
You go to work every day and you write music, and then after a while you're like, I sort of have a rock opera here. And that's pretty much what
You
happened.
got pieced together the various songs and components and whatnot.
Yeah, the Hot Air Balloon song was written, and then I realized I had enough music and I could sort of feel the final product. And then came the hard work.
Now, I was kind of getting into the Biscuits around them, and I was not at that show. Did you tell people you were going to debut it, or did you
No.
surprise everyone? So
We handed out a pamphlet day of the show. We had been playing the songs, not all of them. We didn't play the Hot Air Balloon. We didn't play Above the Waves, but or Eulogy, because I thought those three gave it away, and I wasn't done with Hot Air Balloon yet. But we handed out the pamphlet with all the stories on it at the show, and people got it. But on the pamphlet, it didn't say which story was for which song. So they had to put that all together. It was very cool.
That's cool. And 10 years later, here you are with another piece of work. You guys are about to drop this spring. I hear in January you're going to give an announcement of both the album title and the tentative release date. So we're really excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, this album is going to basically, I think it's going to be the single best thing Disco Biscuits has ever released. It's going to make the Disco Biscuit fan base go crazy because they're going to love it. There's so many great songs. Everyone I play the album for just glows. So we're really excited.
And I have to say, you know, and to end, I have to say it's very cool that about 10 years ago when you guys were first coming through, like the idea of mixing electronic sounds and indie and jam sounds together seemed very foreign, and now here it is. 10 years later, there's a whole genre.
It's everywhere, right?
You know, like from bands like LCD Sound System to jam bands to DJs, and Simon Possifer doing the opposite, being a DJ who's now having a band.
It's going the other way now.
Friends, so
who would have known, you know? And I think we had a big influence on Simon going the other way because he was coming and seeing what we were doing and how excited it made the fans. It's a little bit more of a show.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a band like Daft Punk where you're making strict electronic music and everybody loves it, and then you want to take the show and compete with some of the, you know, larger bands with the light shows and everything, they really go out of their way to make that competition happen. But you know,
that's why they
can
play mini stadiums and huge arenas while you know, most DJs, you know, play a small club. But,
right. That's really how they made that pass, you know, and I'm glad they did because they're really
paving the way for everyone.
They're doing a great job of that. Yeah.
Well, cool, John. Thanks again for this.
Thanks.
We will see you on stage tonight, and everyone tune in a few minutes for the rest of this interview with the rest of the guys. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, everybody.